Okay, let's go ahead and do a safety check. Remove the magazine. Magazine is free and clear. Lock the slide back. And as we can see, it is clear and free of any ammunition. So we're safe to go ahead and begin working. So first let's go over some of the design features of the Millennium G2. It is a striker-fired single-action semi-automatic pistol. Single-action only trigger. It does have a trigger safety that would prevent, if anything should catch on the side of the trigger, would prevent it from causing the firearm to discharge. It would take a full press of the trigger to fire the weapon. Have the magazine release here. Pushing in, of course, releases the magazine. This is the safety. The red dot means fire. Lifting it up puts it on safe. That also locks the slide from being able to be manipulated. Pushing it down makes it ready to fire, and then you can also pull the slide back. This is the slide release. The magazine does engage the slide release, so on the last round it would lock the slide back. And if you watch the slide release there, as the slide comes back, it engages into the slot in the slide there, and that locks it back. Of course, to release, you would just pull down on that, and that would release it. And let's go ahead and see about disassembly. Being striker fired, as is generally the case with striker fired, you would first need to pull the trigger and hold the trigger back. That releases the sear from the striker assembly in the slide. These little buttons on either side are the slide release. So you would push the slide back slightly and then push down on that on both sides, and that unlocks the slide to remove from the frame. First, we'll take a look at the frame. This would be the ejector right here that would eject the empty cartridges. Here is your sear that locks the striker. When you pull the trigger, of course this would be probably kind of hard to see, but when you pull the trigger, that sear goes down, and then this is the disconnector. So when the slide goes back, that releases the engagement from the trigger to the sear so that it can catch for the next round. As far as cleaning, you'd want to clean everything on the inside, light scrubbing with a brush of some type, wipe everything down, and that's really as far as you should disassemble the frame. On the slide itself, we have our recoil spring assembly. It is a captive recoil spring. So to remove, you would simply push forwards slightly and lift up. So push forward and lift up, and you can remove as a unit. We have the barrel right here. Now on this style firearm, the locking for the barrel to the slide when you initially fire is via this large square block that's part of the barrel assembly. It actually, as you can see here, locks into the slide. Now when you would fire the weapon, basically what would happen is as the slide comes back, the barrel comes down slightly, and then that would allow it to fully cycle. To remove the barrel then, of course, you just pull it out. As far as the rest of the stuff on the inside here, we have the extractor right here. It is an external extractor, so it runs the length there. These do have a loaded chamber indicator, so when there's a round in the chamber, that will push up on that little section there to show you that you do have a loaded round in the chamber. Shouldn't rely on that, however, it does have that for a quick visual look. This is our striker assembly. Basically, it's a firing pin that has a spring. So when the slide goes forward, it catches on the sear and that locks it back. basically just locks it back like so, and then when you pull the trigger, it would release it, allowing it to fire. If you do need, for some reason, to remove the striker assembly, the rear plate on these is removable, and then that would allow the striker assembly to come out. So to remove that, in this case here it's orange, that little plastic piece there, you would need to push forward on that, and then that would disengage it from the tail piece there. So push forward just on that plastic piece, and once you push forward on that, this is kind of hard to do here. Get something a little easier to work with. So you push forward, that allows this then to slide up. And then you can remove the striker assembly. There's the spring that drives it, firing pin itself, and the sear the part that engages the sear. Then of course you could clean all this out. Reassembly, you would simply push that in, and then you need to push forward on this. Slide that piece back in, and it locks back into place. So to reassemble the slide, put the barrel in, put in the recoil spring, and the slide is reassembled. You would then just put align the rails with the recesses on the slide, and pull back, and it's locked back together. Then you'd want a function check, and we're reassembled.